So have you ever noticed that your nails were breaking more or your hair is breaking off, but you didn't know why? It could be because you're vitamin deficient. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Courtney and I provide all content on lifestyle, travel, and hair. So if you watched my last video, I talked about how vitamin deficiency could be affecting your hair growth. So I wanted to expand on that a little bit more in this video. This will be a two-part series, and that is because I want to explain how I became vitamin deficient and also how I became anemic. If you want to jump right into some of the symptoms of vitamin deficiency, I'm going to put the time here or where you can skip to. But I did want to give the history behind how I got here. That's how this will all make sense. Now, I am not a medical professional and I'm not here to tell you to go take vitamins. You definitely need to go speak with your provider. But I did want to talk about some of the things that I've learned through my own research and what I've learned from my provider that ultimately led me into getting surgery. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my surgery in the second video, but in this video, I kind of want to explain how I got vitamin deficient and some of the symptoms you should be looking for in case you need to go talk to your provider about vitamin deficiency. Like most people of color, we usually become vitamin D deficient as we get older. I know many women of color, especially Black females, probably when we get into our late 20s, our doctors are telling us we need to be taking more vitamin D because we're not in the sun as often. And when you are vitamin D deficient, it can affect your mood, it can affect your weight, and it can ultimately affect your health. So back in 2018, this is when I first learned that I was vitamin D deficient. And the only reason I learned this was because I started to notice that there was a really big difference in my mood. I felt a little bit more depressed. I was tired all the time, and I really did not find joy in doing the things that I normally do. Now, granted, I believe I was around 28 or 29 during this time. So it really didn't make sense because I'm trying to figure out how some of my coworkers with 2 to 3 kids had more energy than me, and I only had to worry about myself. So I decided to go see a doctor, and when she did my blood work, she noticed that my vitamin D was severely low. So she prescribed me some prescription vitamin D, but she also wanted me to take a mood stabilizer that was called Wellbutrin to kind of help boost my mood and kind of help with the depression. So for the first 2 weeks, I felt like I was 22 again. I couldn't believe that this medication could change my mood that quickly. I felt it within the first 24 hours. Now, I don't know if it was a placebo, but I definitely felt like I had more energy and I was much happier. Now, the only thing that was kind of weird was after 2 weeks, it kind of felt like my brain was outgrowing my skull. And I've always been scared of antidepressant medication, but I only gave it a try that one time. And then once my brain was like, what the heck is going on? I immediately got off. And then I realized I'm gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way with just getting more sun, taking my vitamin D, and going to therapy. And honestly, that helped a lot. It did take some time, but eventually, within the next year or two, I really started to feel like myself. Now, moving forward to 2020, I ended up, this is going to be TMI, but I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. I ended up getting, well, in 2019, I got on the IUD. Worst experience of my life. So in 2020, I was experiencing heavy bleeding, which I thought was caused from the IUD. So when I went to go see my gynecologist, she decided, well, let's go ahead and remove it and we'll do an ultrasound to see what's causing the heavy bleeding. This is when I found out that I had fibroids, but they were 2 small fibroids at the time. Keep in mind, this is 2020, but she said that shouldn't affect me having kids and we'll just monitor it over the years. So as the years went on, my period kept getting heavier and heavier. And as most girls would know, except me, when you are losing that much blood every month, you will become iron deficient and slowly become anemic. I had no idea. I had no idea that this was even possible. All I know is in 2022, my hair was breaking off left and right. I had split ends. Now, other people who would see my hair would say, girl, your hair is gorgeous. But I'm the one that's looking at it through a microscope, and I noticed that this is not the same hair I had in 2021 when it was full and thick and down my back. So I decided to cut my hair, and I cut it to my shoulders. I did a big chop. If you're not new to my channel, you've probably already seen that video. And honestly, that was the best thing I could have ever done because I wanted to watch my hair grow. And as it was growing, I still noticed that the color felt lifeless. My hair was brittle. It was growing, but it was growing slowly. Now everyone's saying, girl, your hair grew back in like 2 years. But honestly, it was at a standstill. It grew like an inch or two within like the first 3 months, but it was at a standstill for about 1.5 years. And it was really concerning for me because I was like, Lord, why'd I cut my hair? Why is it not growing back? So let's fast forward to 2023. For some reason, I'm a girl that always gets her nails done. I like doing the dip powder, but for some reason, the nails were popping off within like 3 to 4 days of leaving the salon. My nails were brittle, and I was like, you know what? Let me just take these off because maybe I just need to give my nails a break. But even still, my nails were still breaking and really brittle. Now, early 2024, my skin, now this is for me. This is how I felt because I know how I normally look. My hair was, the split ends were splitting. When I say I had split ends all up and down the shaft, I was like, what in the world is going on? So when I came back home from the school I was in for 4 months, when I came back home to Maryland, they had to do a big chop in my hair. I mean, big chop for me, not big chop for probably normal individuals, but they had to layer it because a lot of the breakage hair was from my leave out. So they had to layer it. So I had this weird mushroom thing going on where it was very thick right here, but very thin on the bottom because it was layered funny. So in June, I was like, let me get my blood work done. When I tell you my iron levels were almost to 0, I know I think the starting point was like 36. I have to get the numbers. The starting part was at 36 and then it can go higher from there. I was at 9. So the doctor was like, let me run some more tests. And I can't speak, all the hemoglobin, the red blood count cells were severely low. She was like, you are anemic and I need you to get on iron pills immediately. And so I called my mom. You know how we always do, we call our mom. I was like, the doctor told me I'm anemic. She's like, oh man, I probably should have told you about that. I'm anemic too. I was sitting here like, woman, I'm telling you all these symptoms I'm having, all these problems I'm having, and I could have resolved them years ago. Because I had no idea that having a heavy period would lower your iron. Had no idea at the time. So I started doing some little research and trying to see, are some of my symptoms because of low iron? And lo and behold, it was. So once I started taking iron every single day, took vitamin D every single day, because I did stop taking the vitamin D. I wasn't taking my vitamins like I was supposed to. When I say my hair grew 3 to 4 inches in a span of like a month and a half, my color returned back. I mean, this, you would think I dyed this. My color returned back. I was thinking, wow. So the reason I can't breathe walking upstairs or going for a run is because my red blood count was so low, my iron was so low, and I had no idea that this was affecting everything. So I did want to list a few things that happen when you have low iron. The number one thing is fatigue and weakness. When I say I was tired, it's hard for me to get up. Now I'm still fatigued, and that's a whole nother story, which we'll talk about in part 2. Fatigue is the number one thing that you need to look out for. If you're more tired now than you were before, it could be because you are deficient in some type of vitamin. Paleness in the skin, shortness of breath, dizziness or lightheadedness. Now, especially during my period, I would get dizzy or lightheaded. Well, as my period was coming on. So I also have high estrogen. So it does give me like pre-pregnancy symptoms before my period starts. So sometimes I'm like, Lord, am I knocked up? So sometimes I would think that I was with child, you know, but especially right around my period, right before it starts, because I would get dizzy. Sometimes I'm walking down the stairs and I feel like I'm about to pass out. And who knew? It was because my iron was low. Cold hands and feet, headaches, brittle nails, hair loss, restless leg syndrome, rapid heartbeat. All of these things are symptoms of having low iron. And now I'm walking down the street and I'll see girls' hair brittle. Now it could be heat damage, it could be dye, too much sun exposure, it could be anything. But you can see the lifelessness in people, and it's usually because their iron is low. And the one thing I did notice more was I was looking more aged. I had these really deep dark circles under my eye. So in 2023, because I didn't know it was an iron deficiency, I was like, well, let me get filler under my eye and help make me look youthful again. I think that gave me puffy cheeks. So I had puffy cheeks for a while, for like a year and some change. So definitely see your doctor before running to a cosmetic individual to correct some things, because usually taking vitamins will correct some of the issues that you see. I mean, as you can see, I don't even have nails on now because I did recently have to go through surgery, but again, for some reason, because of my anemia, the nails aren't sticking on. Now, they were sticking on for like a good month and a half, but then all of a sudden my period got extremely heavy, and I'm going to explain that in the second part. But even though I was taking the iron pill, I probably just need to up my dosage, but I don't want to take too much iron at the same time because you will get constipated, and I already have digestive issues, so I like to balance it out. Let me tell you, when you turn 35, after 35, it all goes downhill. All right, so yes, this video really isn't for the 20-year-olds, but it is for the 20-year-olds, so you guys know what to look out for within the next 10 to 15 years of your life. This video is really to speak to the girls that are experiencing some of the things that I went through. So if you didn't know, just like I didn't, you can go ahead and schedule an appointment with your provider to see what is going on. Now, for myself, there was a lot of misdiagnosis, in which I'll talk about in part 2. But I do know once I started taking my vitamins every single day, my health improved. Now, I do want to caveat, my B12 is extremely high. And for some reason, every pill in the world wants to add B12 to give people more energy. But too much B12 is also a bad thing. So now I have to take like a mixture of pills in order to not add B12 to my system, because all like the multivitamins are almost quadrupling the amount of B12 that a normal human needs on a daily basis. So vitamin people, do better, do your research, stop just pumping us with B12. That is not great. You're making us even more sicker than what we are, especially with the food that we have. I did want to read this definition about low iron. So low iron levels, also known as iron deficiency, can lead to various symptoms due to the reduced hemoglobin production, which affects the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. The symptoms that I listed earlier are some of the effects from having low iron. So that is why I'm telling you guys, go get your iron checked out. And also you need to figure out what's causing the low iron. For me, it's my heavy periods. They are extremely heavy, and I'm hoping after the surgery I had, it corrected this, but I'm trying to get to the root cause so I can be the same old Courtney I was in my 20s, because I am only 36 and I should not be experiencing some of the stuff that I'm experiencing now, because I feel like an old lady. I don't look like an old lady. I hope y'all say that. But I do. I feel like an old lady. I can't run as fast, and I can't really run much anymore. I mean, I could do a light jog, and I wish people would stop looking at me and saying, well, maybe it's because you need to lose more weight. I'm like, I would like to lose more weight if I had the energy to work out harder. If my BPM didn't get to 190 beats per minute, that ain't normal. Running for 5 minutes and you're at 190 beats per minute, that's not normal. But once I did start taking the iron, I did get my BPM down to 165, 170. So it is at a little bit more steady rate. And then I also have high levels of estrogen, and unfortunately that also caused weight gain. So even if I'm on a balanced diet, it is 10 times harder for me to lose weight compared to others. So for people that easily lose weight, or people that are super fit and don't have these same issues that other people have, you need to be a little bit more considerate and realize some people are just going through things and are working to try to get them resolved. But I hope this video helped. I really wanted to make sure I came out here and kind of talk to you guys of what I'm going through and why I'm just not able to produce as many videos as possible, because I am tired. Even though I'm taking vitamin D, even though I'm taking the iron tablets, it's still this level of fatigue that I'm still trying to get out of. So I do appreciate everyone sticking with me and riding with me, and I can't wait to come back for the part 2 series to explain what caused the vitamin deficiency and what I did to hopefully try to mitigate it. Now, I will keep doing progressive checks with you guys to let you know how I'm doing. And hopefully anyone that's out there who's experiencing these issues as well, this helped you do a little bit more research and gave you a plan on how you're going to get at it. Because ladies and gents, in 2025, we are going to be our best self, okay? We are no longer going to be walking out here tired, without our hair done, and sweats. We are going to bring the best that we can bring in 2025. So please make sure to like this video. Also, come down in the comments and talk about some of the stuff that you're going through. Maybe there's someone else that went through it. It can provide some feedback to help you. But if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you want to stick around, make sure you subscribe. I want to thank you guys for joining and see you guys in part 2. Bye.